161st Street, Yankee Stadium.
Swung on a hit in the air to deep center. Gets back, away back. She is gone. He made the play.
All right, welcome back to the Boys at 161st Street, episode 208. Today is June 16th, and the Yankees have won 13 of the last 14. They have the best run differential in baseball. What else is new? But it's like not even close. I forget what it is off the top of my head, but we have a 13 game, 131 to like 106. I think the Dodgers is the closest, and then the Mets have like a 63 or something like that. Yankees have a 13-game home winning streak. It's the most since 1973. The record is 46-16. Just a fun stat off the top. I know every single episode we've been pretty much saying that there's a new record that we're going to be going after. So I guess we'll just start every episode with the current records that we're in striking distance of or on pace to get. Like I said, Yankees now, since they took 2 out of the first 3, we're recording this before the final game in the Rays series, but the Yankees just won against McClanahan, so they're 46-16, excuse me. If they play 500 baseball for the remainder of the season, they would finish with 96 wins. And just for reference, last year 3 teams finished with 96 wins or more. The Rays had 100, Giants had 107, and the Dodgers had 106. So that's if we play 500 baseball from here on out, which we obviously have not. We've been 46-16. That's a 740 win percentage. So I don't think we're going to play 500 baseball. And also just for reference, last year at this point, our record was 33-29. So that's 500 baseball pretty much. And right now, the current pace we're actually at, not 96. Obviously, that's if we play 500 baseball. But right now we're on pace for 120 wins, which, just to remind you all, the most ever by a baseball team in a single season was the Mariners in 2001, and they got 116. And just I'm looking at this stat, this like bell curve or whatever it is of the recent teams or of all the teams to like the most wins by any team. And just looking at the teams beyond the Mariners, like the ones, there's another team that had 116. That was the 1906 Cubs. The 1998 Yankees had 114. The rest of the teams are so old. So like when we talk about, a lot of people hear 2001 Mariners are the last to do it. Before that, it gets ridiculous. So like we're in real rare air right now in terms of like, it sounds like it's
before baseball actually like made like mattered. It was like
I'm saying it sounded way less crazy when a team in the modern era has done it. But before the 2001 Mariners did it, like the years of these teams, 1906 Cubs, 1998 Yankees, I guess that's modern era, 1954 Indians, Guardians, excuse me, but Indians at the time, 1927 Yankees, 1909 Pirates, 1969 Orioles, 1961 Yankees, 2018 Red Sox was like the most recent to do it. And that was, you guys remember that? That was crazy. They had that whole wall with pictures of every win they had. They won the World Series that year. Just wild. They had 108 wins that year. 1986 Mets, 75 Reds, 70 Orioles. I'll keep going, but it's nuts. And then last year, like I just said, the 2021 Giants had 107. So like that's the area we're in right now, and we're projected to have 120. So like that's, will we get there? That's for us to decide, not the Yankees to decide. We'll decide that, but it's crazy to see we keep saying it, the pacing of everybody right now, of like Judge's home runs and all that, and it hasn't slowed down. So I mean, like I said, they've won 13 of the last 14. You look at the Red Sox and other stats out there, like they've gone 29 or whatever it was. They've been winning a lot of baseball games, and we've gained games on them in the standings, which is
do you think
we don't lose. So
do you think I saw JJ post this on Twitter, but do you think that are you surprised at all that we're having like this historic season and that we're like only like 9 games ahead of the Blue Jays in the East?
No, it's fucking June. Like for us to be 9 games, I mean, only 9 games ahead. 9 games ahead in June is incredible.
No, I'm not saying it's not incredible. I'm saying like
I'm saying we've played 62 games. Like being 9 games ahead is a pretty incredible feat.
I
Like
know.
that's
I'm
Yeah, but
I'm
I think
comparing
what
it to
Damon's
this. I'm
saying-
comparing it to the season or having this historic season. We're breaking every record known to mankind, and now I'm just saying like, are you surprised at all that we're only 9 games up, considering the fact that we're breaking all these records in terms of wins?
We're like 15 games up on most other divisions.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
if we were in almost any other division except for the NL West and I guess the AL West, we're pretty much, or in the NL East, like, so I think that's what you're getting at, because we're 9 games ahead of the third or fourth best team in baseball. And then also the Rays and the Red Sox are right there too. So the season we're having, theoretically, we should have a bigger lead, but I mean, it's one of the best divisions of baseball probably within the last 5 years.
And you also look at these teams, like we just mentioned in the last episode, or the episode before, there's 4 teams currently slated, if the season ended today, to be in the playoffs from the AL East. So
Yep.
am I shocked? No. But like, I think I'm more, I mean, there's nothing that shocks me anymore with this team, but like, it's like, you just have to look at the bigger picture at this point. You have to look at outside the division, because when you see this ridiculous, like the other teams in our division are having ridiculous seasons as well. It's just, we're having, that's why I want to put it in perspective to see like the teams that have recently done this, and there aren't many. I mean, the other teams that have put up that many wins and the pace that we're going to break potentially is from just times that people,
Times it didn't count.
mechanics played baseball. So that's why Babe Ruth wasn't good. But just, it's,
I personally think that the craziest stat that I've seen so far and that we tweeted earlier was that even if we go 500 the rest of the year, we're still going to have 96 wins. Like, I know you just said that. I'm just
okay.
I'm reiterating the fact that like I want to say that to me is like the most surprising thing that I have read so far. That blows my mind. Like that I can't even comprehend.
Think about it this way. If we do that, go 500, whatever, and the Blue Jays keep up their current pace, we would still win the division.
Yeah.
If the Blue Jays played the way they've played this far, to your point earlier, you were talking about only 9 games up, whatever. If they keep their pace, they would win 95 and we would win 96 if we played 500 the rest of the way. That's just, I don't know. Just
The
puts it in
fact that
perspective.
we're-
They're pretty fucking good.
Wait, before we
fact that we're
continue,
nine
I wanted to. This episode is presented by Chalkboard, so I got a little too ahead of myself. I got a little bit too eager. The Yankees are really good. Kind of forget about the ad reads, but I do have to keep the lights on here at home. So this episode is presented by Chalkboard. We're trying to build the biggest Yankees group chat on the history of this planet, and we're pretty dang close. We're about 450 people in this group chat. We're buzzing every single day in the group chat. It's a lot of fun. It's more fun than I ever thought it would be, and more people than I ever thought would be in it. And we have our group chat. We talk amongst ourselves, but ever since we've started this Chalkboard group chat, we haven't been really using our group chat during games as much. It's more so just using the Chalkboard group chat. So it's an opportunity for us to interact with you guys. It's an opportunity for you guys to interact with other Yankees fans. And on top of it, it's a very good app as well. It's not only just a group chat, but it syncs with any of your betting apps like BetMGM, Barstool, all that stuff. You can just sync your bets and you can share your bets with us. We're talking about, will Judge hit a home run? The answer is yes, probably. I'd put my money down on that, but the odds probably aren't that good. It's probably heavily favored. But yeah, it's a fun app. It's a lot of fun. We like the guys over at Chalkboard. They've been great to us, and it's been a really good time chatting with all the fans in there and get to know people. So link is in the podcast description. Link is in our bio. Go join that and chat it up with us.
It's a lot of fun. Come have fun with the
Sure
good
is.
boys.
If I can continue.
Yes, I had to keep the lights
Nope,
on, Murph.
That's all right.
Rent's going up in the city, boys. We gotta.
The fact that we're 9-1 in our last 10, and that's not what we're talking about, is kind of crazy. Like, we're 9-1 in our last 10, and any other year it's like, okay, this is it, we're figuring it out. And the fact that we won 9 of our last 10 would be a bigger deal. And
Yeah.
just how good we've been all year, it's like,
Because
it's not that nobody cares, but
we just keep going on win streaks. It's all we do is we go on a win streak, then we lose one game. We go on a win streak, and then we lose one game. It's like, it's absurd.
It's shocking when we lose. Like it feels weird that where it's like, oh well,
But also,
That's
you're
weird.
also just
Well,
like, fuck it. You're always just like, fuck it, we lost. Like,
Yeah, we haven't had
last
that
year.
luxury in a long time. Last year, if you lose, they're like, Jesus Christ, these motherfuckers again. We just like, can we win a game?
Yeah, it was like the
can
end
we
of the
win a
world.
series? I think I saw something like it was probably yesterday that this time last year we were like one game ahead or one game below. Jesus fucking Christ, I can't speak. Above 500. I was like, we're 30 now.
Yeah.
1 year later, fast forward. That's for those of you who aren't good at math, that's 29 games better than this point last year.
I needed that. Thank
Oh,
you.
We're also winning series like it's nobody's business. Obviously, if you have a winning percentage like we do, you're gonna win most of your series. But we've only lost 2, and we've tied 2. Orioles and White Sox, because they swept one doubleheader, and then we tied with the Blue Jays early on in the year, and then the Rays, I think, at the end of May.
Yeah, can you also? I mean, remember at the beginning of the year we didn't have that good of a start to the season. We were talking about like, it seems like it's actually last season when we talk about the early part of the season. We were talking about the offense going through one of what we talk a lot about history on this podcast as of recently. We were going through one of the most historically bad offensive stretches in the history. I think it was like the worst offensive stretch in any Yankees like 30-day span in the history of the franchise. And now to flip the script and be one of the best teams overall in every single category and win like we have. I mean, if you throw away the first month, or if you even be mediocre for that first month, not the worst we've ever been. Imagine where we'd be now. We'd have like 55 wins and out of 62, and it's just nuts. And I guess that's just baseball. And I could see that look on Murph's face, like that's baseball, Susan. That you can't just flip a switch and change something like that. But it did happen. But it's just crazy to think about. You know, we were that bad, and now we basically haven't lost a game since.
Like, after the first 12 games, we've gone 40-10. We've lost 10 out of the last 50 games.
And those were the 6 losses from the first month. That's what I was going to say, is that even during that cold spell where, you were saying whatever, we lost a series to the O's but didn't get swept. So we dropped 2 to the O's, and then we dropped 2 in a split series with the Blue Jays, which we also got 2 wins. And like kind of felt like we made out like bandits beating the Blue Jays in those other 2 games, because obviously the pitching was electric. But I mean, we had 6 losses in that historic cold stretch of 30 days. So I don't know how many off days they had during that time, but that's at least 20-6 during that time, if it was the 30 days.
Yeah. I mean, it's just insane. I mean, like, we can talk about as I feel like a broken record just talking about how good they are, but like,
no, but you have to bring it up. You have to bring it up. It's new. There's a new piece of information. There's a new piece of information every single time I listen to a game. I feel like the Yes broadcast says something new about, what new record they're going to break, whether it be, and we haven't even talked about Clay Holmes yet. And
I know.
Spoiler alert, this is going to be a Clay Holmes appreciation episode, because we're about to get in hot or not, and you bet your ass he's one of the hot ones. And I mean, he's gone. I mean, I don't want to divulge too much of the information. Why don't we just get into hot or not right now? But it's just
Aroldis Chapman setup man, Clay Holmes,
allegedly, and that's a conversation we'll get into in a second. But let's formally address it through hot or not, and then we'll get into that exact conversation in a second. So, Damon, if you want to cue me up on the music.
Yes, sir. Before we get into the music, Hot or Not is presented by Underdog Fantasy. We're talking about betting a little earlier. We were talking about betting a little earlier. Big betting podcast over here. If you couldn't tell by our sponsors, but we love Underdog Fantasy. It's the best place for fantasy sports. They have a bunch of different fun games you can play. Pick'em games, daily fantasy drafts. You can draft teams against us and play us during a week, a season, a day, whatever you want. We're going to be doing a lot of different contests in there all season long. So in order to get involved with that and to get ahead of the game, you can download the Underdog app, go to their website and sign up. Use our link in the description or our social media bios. And if you use our code, our code 161 boys, you get $100 bonus match on your first deposit. And that is all of Murph's money. So get $100 worth of Murph's money when you sign up and bet against us. It's a lot of fun. And come steal our money. And without further ado, let's do Hot or Not. Corella.
Yeah, whenever you want to. That's your.
Corella's having some mic difficulties.
Now we're just listening to the hot music.
Well, I'll kick off with the AAA one that we were talking, or the minor league one that we were talking about. If you
There
want to
you
do
go.
that. So Juan Corella. All right, I'll shut up.
Still leading up for the Hots. Play that music again. Clay Holmes obviously comes up first. 30 innings pitched, scoreless, no runs since opening day. The most dominant pitch in the AL in terms of run value at -13 run value.
Yeah, I'll buy that. I'll do the Hots since we didn't talk about that either.
Gotta take initiative, Chandler. So you pay the big bucks.
Next, Juan De Peralta. I know Chandler's been giving him a lot of praise. Not a lot of people have been. Juan De Peralta's his baseball savant is crazy, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But when you think about trades, you don't really think about this one. He's had 24 innings pitched, 1.5 ERA, 0.88 WHIP, only 4 earned runs, and only Clay Holmes, who I just mentioned before, is breaking records, has a lower ERA on the Yankees than him at a 0.29, which, I mean, nobody has a lower ERA than that. Are you buying that, Chandler?
Yeah, I am, and I would like to also point out that a lot of people are talking about it. They're just not named Lucrella.
Okay. And a couple more things on here that aren't really related to. Actually, before that, Luis Medina. We're going to do some prospects in here. He's the number 11 prospect on the Yankees. I'm sure you've probably heard of him before. He's in Double-A. He recently had 6 innings pitched, 10 Ks, 2 hits and 1 walk in a shutout outing in his 8th start with 10 Ks or more since 2015 when he was signed as a 16-year-old.
Am I buying it?
That would
You
be
still
the
do it?
segment.
Well, you said that you were like going off on a different tangent, but no, yeah. If he can, the same thing with him for his entire 8 years in the minors now. If he can locate, then yeah, I buy it. We'll see though. Throws 100, he's nasty. I hope so. He would be awesome to have, even if it's just a bullpen arm.
And one other thing that I wanted to add in there that isn't really Yankees player related, it's just the mustaches. I mean,
Yeah, buy that.
it started out with just Nestor's beautiful stash, and then
We're a mustache
we-
team now.
we're apparently we found a thing. It's our identity, and we added Carpenter. That added to the mustache, whatever is going on here. And then, I mean, now the rest of the team is starting to grow it out. You see Gallo growing out a mustache. It's not really in yet, but
I mean, he's Italian,
it's
dude.
coming.
It's gonna be
It's
their guy
coming.
today.
it's
Yeah,
coming.
we
and
saw him start it on,
Licky
like, Sunday.
seemingly grew one overnight. I mean,
There was someone
It's
else
our
in the
thing.
dugout who I don't know who it was. Maybe like the Bat Boy or something, but he was growing a mustache, which I thought was really funny. Like, I didn't know who it was. It was just some random guy in the dugout who
I
had
think
a mustache.
Aaron Boone should grow a mustache.
I'm trying to think of who like the funniest person to see grow a mustache would be, and I feel like most of the team would look very goofy with a mustache, but like in a good way.
Judge would look ridiculous with a mustache. Let's just put it.
Yeah,
point
Judge
that out.
would look
Higgy.
bad. I'm
Imagine
thinking,
Higgy
like-
with a fucking mustache.
I
Higgy
think
would look.
he could pull it off. I feel like he could pull it off.
I just don't think
Yeah,
that
I don't know if he could pull it off, but like I could see him doing it. The only one I really can't see doing it is Judge, because like I mean like Stanton, has never really had
DJ?
facial hair, but like I could see him with a nice little like thin one. DJ, I guess, but like Judge, I can't picture a facial hair within the parameters of what you can do as a Yankee that would look good on him.
No,
If that makes sense.
I
that was
agree.
my question to you guys. I literally wrote this question down as who on the Yankees that doesn't have one now do you want to see grow it out next? And I literally could not see Judge having faith.
No.
I think Trevino is the one I want to see next. Like
I think
he
DJ.
fits into that, like, you know, he loves being there. We talked about this before. Like he's a kid growing up playing for the Yankees. So I feel like if he can grow any sort of a mustache, he's going to jump on that train. Maybe he's really superstitious and he's playing well, so he won't. But like,
Yeah.
I would love to see him just because he buys into that sort of thing. It seems like, and I feel like it would just kind of fit. If he
I'm
was-
gonna-
Imagine how much it would rally the troops if DJ did it, though. That's a guy that's like, he's pretty.
Can he
this
grow
is-
facial hair though? Like I feel like he's
Duh,
never had
he can.
anything.
Yeah, you can do
He
anything.
didn't
he
have
wants.
facial hair on Colorado.
He didn't, right?
I'm just saying, man. If there's
the
one guy
Cubs.
that would like really catch your eye, it'd be DJ. If he got in
Yeah.
on one of these team trends,
I
So if he's if it's like if DJ does it, everyone's got to do it at that point. Like I
Yeah.
feel like he's gonna be one of the last guys, and once he does it, it's gonna be like, all right, great, lock and load. Like now
who's the
it's
next one?
Now it's a real thing.
Didn't the 2016 or 2017 Yankees do it? I can like very, very vaguely remember like Andrew Miller.
Yeah,
with the
but they
mustache.
sucked, so it didn't matter. It wasn't
The
cool. when they did it.
2017 Yankees sucked.
No,
they
he
were one
wa-
game
he
away from
was
the
a
The
World
2016 is what you led with. I don't know why
And-
you
no, it
you
was
try to make me look
2016.
bad, but you can't.
I
do
said
it.
2017, 2016. I don't
Andrew
remember.
Miller
which
was on the Indians in 2017. And
Okay,
the
so
second half
20,
of
yeah, that's
2016.
right, because Greg Bird hit the home run. So it was 2016.
I'm going with Josh Donaldson. Next one, the grow stash.
I
Yeah, I
can
can see that.
He fits
That's-
that. He fits that persona very well. He's like old
He is the
guy
answer.
trying to
He's
fit
going to
in.
look so
He's a
bad. with
maverick.
mustache.
No, he would look good in that. He's like this old. He's like a Matt Carpenter, not like Matt Carpenter stash, but like Matt Carpenter esque of like this old guy on the roster, playing the hot corner, has seen some shit, doesn't give a fuck anymore, and just kind of like grow a stash out.
I mean, it
His
should
is
be
either
either
gonna be
him or
tough.
Cole. Cole should
Has
get
he-
one.
Cole-
Obviously.
Cole
Cole
had one
tried.
last year.
He tried
Yeah,
last
he did
year.
last year. It was awesome.
Well, Donaldson was a facial hair guy before, no? Like he had a beard most of the
I don't
time, I
remember, to be
believe.
honest.
No.
I can't remember exactly. No, he did.
Yeah, he did.
He did. He definitely did. But so like I don't know, not that he ever had a mustache because why would you unless you're in the Yankees? But he was a facial hair guy, so I could see it. The other one I was thinking was Rizzo. I don't know how he'd look with one, but like I feel like he's also the kind of guy that would jump on the mustache
Yeah.
train.
We should make.
I think you
posts
could
of
grow a
this,
nice
just,
one.
Add mustaches to everybody like we do with Garrett Cole, and just like
Yeah.
say, all right, who's the next one that we want to have a mustache?
I think I was
mean,
talking
all
about
of them
this
will
with
have it,
Damon the
but-
other day. With Damon the other day, it was like I think if Rizzo tried to grow a mustache, he would look like a guy that's trying to look like inconspicuous in a crowd. Like he's got the sunglasses mustache. That's what Rizzo would
Like
look
a
like.
Clark Kent type thing, just trying to
Yeah.
hide that he's Anthony Rizzo.
No, it's like those like glasses you put on that are like the fake nose mustache glass combo.
Yeah, it looks like the emoji. It's just
Yeah.
just your classic regular mustache. Just put it on Rizzo just so he can get on the subway by himself and
Yeah.
not be stopped for pictures.
Exactly.
He-
Yeah.
He's really never had a mustache. I'm looking to see if like he grew one out in the playoffs or something. But
Man, I can't wait to grow a mustache for
Oh.
the playoffs. It's gonna be
Outside
so
of-
sick.
Outside of mustaches, and actually last thing on mustaches, I promise. Not the last thing for the season. We will continue to talk about mustaches, but last thing on mustaches for this. What if our thing? I feel like the Yankees have had a thing on second base and like all that stuff, but like we don't really. It's a bunch of different things. Like I
They
know
do
they do
this
that.
now for some
that
reason.
that thing that IKF does and that and I don't know. It's just some random things. What if they just went like this every time they're just put the finger over their lip? Just
Don't
to
that was a
signify
thing for a
mustache.
while. Like in football and stuff, people would do that all the time. When they
Well,
scored a
no,
touchdown.
not that. We're not doing cocaine.
I mean,
here.
they're pretty similar.
We're not doing crack cocaine here, Murphy. We're doing
That's what people would think it was, though. If they
Yeah, no,
went
but
like
if you
this,
went like
it's the same
this,
thing.
no. But when you see the
Bad
people,
boys, the AL East.
every the bad boys, the AL,
The
the Doc
86
Goodens,
Mets.
the Doc. Oh yeah, there we go. Same, me, you, same page. But last thing outside of that, we're moving on past mustaches. I wanted to put
Dennis
more
Rodman
attention.
Pistons.
I want to put more attention to Juan De Peralta because
Rightfully so. I'll let you take the stage since you're the one that's all anti-Wandy.
I know, and I will say I've
Floor is
ignored
yours
it.
to apologize.
I apologize, Juan De Peralta, because I've ignored the stats for quite some time. More so because I just haven't really seen it. You know, I haven't really seen it with my eyes. Maybe I wasn't looking, but I looked at the numbers. I feel like every other player, it's hard because he could go very unnoticed when all the rest of the team is playing the way they are. Obviously, you got Clay Holmes, who hasn't given up a run since opening day. And Judge is on pace for 67 home runs. It's easy to overlook a guy like Juan De Peralta. And I just looked into his stats. And, I mean, you look at his baseball savant. I mean, it flies off the page. There's so much red here. The only thing that's blue is fastball spin and K percentage, and I think that might be a reason as to why I didn't look into this is because he doesn't do the sexy stuff. He doesn't strike people out a ton. He just kind of gets it done quietly, and you could see that by his ERA. His ERA is a 1.5. It's the second lowest on the Yankees, outside of people like. Oh no, never mind. That's a separate point I have later. But yes, second lowest on the Yankees besides Clay Holmes, who's apparently going to get Cy Young votes. And it's just like he when you think of people who got traded in like great trades on the Yankees, you never really think about him, but he's been unbelievable, I feel like. And it's just maybe I haven't looked at his numbers last year. I don't really remember off the top of my head, but I don't think he was super bad. Did he ever make a trip to the Sun?
Who, Wandy?
Wandy last year, yeah.
Yeah, he was
I
the
think he
first
did,
person.
right?
He spent some time there, yeah.
He wasn't the first. He was the first person off the Sun.
So good time spent is what I'm hearing.
He set a precedent that nobody else can achieve.
He almost changed what the Sun was because it was for reasons like his that we started to send people to the Sun. It's timeout. I'm glad
Yeah.
we put a stop to that. But
Yes,
that's why.
You're correct.
Because
I mean,
it's the Wandy effect, if you will.
looking back at the metrics, like the Saber metrics, I mean, he just gets so much soft contact, and I think that's what I was saying before. It's like it's not sexy. He doesn't do the high strikeout numbers. He doesn't like do any of that. It's just like he's gonna get soft contact. His
Can we talk about his
96th
fielding?
percentile average exit velo. He fields like a nobody's business, and he just doesn't allow the home run ball. He has no home runs allowed this year. It's just like Juan De Peralta is a very good player, and he kind of throws a little bit of gas. I feel like he touches the upper to mid 90s area, and I mean, he's got a similar build to Mr. Nestor Cortez, so I didn't really I don't know. I guess I just haven't been looking in Juan De Peralta's way, and I apologize to him and Chandler for that because
It's okay.
I'm going to be looking at Juan De Peralta from now on. And I mean, he's used in a lot of leverage spots, and I think he's going to continue to be used there until, and even when I feel like Chapman and guys like Loaizaga come back, it just, I think Juan De Peralta is here to stay, and I'll pass it to you first, Chandler, because you did buy this. And do you think that he's going to continue to put up these dominant? He has a 1.5 ERA. I know reliever ERA is something that we don't really talk about a ton, but
If it's
because
low, that's a good thing. You don't talk about it if it's high.
That's true because it will blow up if in one outing. But yeah,
I think it's more impressive if it's low. I think it's worth talking about if it's low because if it's high,
Right.
then you can say it's you can't talk about reliever ERA. He gave up 2 runs. No, if it's low, you absolutely should be able to talk about it. And do I think he's going to be a 1.5 pitcher for any length of time? No, but I don't think it's crazy to think that he could be. You know what he could do this year that wouldn't surprise me is kind of slide into a Chad Green-esque role, like 6th, 7th inning. Because the way it's shaping up right now, Chapman, we'll get into that later, but he's either going to be 8th or 9th. You have to figure it. Does he deserve it? That's a whole separate conversation, but it's going to happen. Clay Holmes, just leave it at that. And then it's shaping up like, Loaizaga, who knows? We haven't heard anything from him. Last we heard from him, he was in Nicaragua. So I don't know. He's a question mark. And then you move down, you've got was it Miguel Castro, who is starting to get high leverage innings, and he's doing a good job. He's got Matt Blake on his side. His whole career has been location, like a bunch of these guys, like Clay Holmes, and like Loaizaga, and they're turning it around because of Matt Blake. Did I say Matt Chapman? I don't know. Matt Blake, whatever. That's the point.
No,
You're good.
Okay. But I thought I said Matt Chapman for some reason. But so Matt Blake, that effect right there. He's taking guys that can't fucking hit a barn door, and he's bringing them out here and turning them into elite relievers. And I think Wandy kind of slots right there behind those guys. He's still going to get high leverage innings, and if the bullpen's getting worked a lot, he may see an 8th inning. He may see a high leverage 7th inning spot. You saw it last year when we were playing the Braves. He came in, they were doing the chop, and there was that it was kind of a really cool moment, Chapman pouting off the mound after walking the bases loaded. And then here comes Wandy with the lights off, and he comes in and makes a damn good play. Like I was alluding to, his defense gets out of the inning. He made another play in extra innings the other night. Who the fuck did we walk it off against? I don't know. Whatever Jose Trevino had the walk off in the top of that inning or the inning before, here comes Wandy, makes a nice stab, knocks it down, fires to first, gets the out. He fields his position well. He does everything you can ask of him and more. I don't know. I think it's not crazy to think that he continues to get high leverage spots. Will he be a 1.5 ERA and just absolutely dominant? No, but even if he has a blow up game, I still trust him for the foreseeable future until it becomes a repeated pattern. I trust him.
tell me you're from the South without telling me you're from the South.
What do you mean?
Couldn't hit a barn door.
I've always heard that as the broadside of a barn, but anyway, The
Me
interesting
too.
thing when you look at his baseball savant is that he's in the 90th percentile for whiff rate, but he's in the 22nd percentile for K percentage, and that just doesn't
Hmm.
seem like it adds up. Which it,
It's
I mean, that
interesting.
Yeah, no, that
yeah,
I noticed that too.
that's pretty interesting.
He's missing the barrel of bats, and I think that might be it. That's why he's getting soft contact, but he's not missing bats completely. I think that might be where it comes in. But I think whiffs are fully missing the. I don't know.
It
I
seems like from the eye test, and then I guess this supports it, is that he's getting ahead, and then after that, so like he's getting first, second pitch strikes, and then his whiff rate's coming in the middle of the count, and then people are taking a 2-strike approach against him and not getting good contact in doing so. That I don't know if that's an approach that's changed. I don't know if that's Matt Blake. I don't know if that's coincidence, but that's what it seems like's happening when I'm watching. And then also that is the only explanation I can think of for why this is
it's
the
good
way it is.
analysis.
Thank you.
It's a very weird stat.
One thing that I did want to also just touch on again is I know we've talked about Clay Holmes a ton on this podcast on every episode, but it's crazy what he's doing, and now I guess it's the time right after this one cool stat is when we talk about the Chapman versus him situation for the 15,000th time. But I feel like we have to because Boone kind of addressed it. That remains to be seen what we're actually gonna see, but he addressed it nonetheless. So we're gonna talk about it. But that stat that I mentioned before, he has the most dominant single pitch in the American League in terms of run value at minus 13 run value on his sinker. That's second in the MLB to Mackenzie Gore's fastball, who I didn't know. I don't know a lot about Mackenzie Gore.
He's gonna win NL
I'll-
Cy Young or
I'm gonna-
NL Rookie of the Year.
yeah, I'll defer to Murph, as I was about to say. Murph is a big Mackenzie Gore guy, so his fastball is the only better pitch based on run value in the entire MLB, and that's nuts. I feel like I haven't watched a lot of Mackenzie Gore, but I feel like Clay Holmes' sinker is better. That's unbiased reporting, but it's just it's 99. It runs. I mean, he threw one ball yesterday, and I know it was a sinker because
Man, you are just freezing to the
Yeah,
fucking
Rose
Yeah.
cutting in and out a little bit here.
out over
I'll
there,
I'll
man.
speak to what I think he was gonna say though. It's like he throws his sinker so often. Like he's a 2-pitch pitcher, which most relievers are nowadays. But his sinker is literally untouchable.
What's he, sinker slider? If you throw a 100-mile-an-hour
Sinker
sinker that breaks into your hands and then snap off a whatever mile-an-hour slider he is, but it's enough of a difference between the pitches
85.
and they move, 30 inches in opposite directions. How the fuck do you hit that? You don't. That's why he's got
Yeah.
0.29 ERA.
No,
No,
you don't.
I
And
mean-
the funny thing is, like his baseball savant, like his average exit velo and hard hit percentage are middle of the road, but that's based on how many times people actually square him up. Which basically what it indicates is that nobody can get bad on ball, and when you do, sure, they're average numbers, but there's only so much to go off on that.
But he's also
So,
driving him straight into the ground. What's he got? Like an 89% ground ball percentage? Even if you make hard contact, if you're just smacking it in the dirt in the infield, then, I mean, obviously he's due for some regression just because this is like unsustainable. But I mean, if you're getting guys to put it on the ground regardless, even if they're putting it at average exit velo on the ground, good things are going to happen. That's
Yeah.
just the bottom line. And you have, a pretty damn good defensive team behind you. So, couple good defense with ground balls, you get good results. That's just what happens.
87 or 82.7 ground ball rate. That is ridiculous.
I heard, wasn't that the best in like the last? It's the best out of some period. I remember them saying it last night. Might be the best ever. I'll just go ahead and coin it. It's the best ever. I don't care about looking at the numbers at all because it's crazy. And the one thing before I broke up that I was mentioning is
As he breaks up again.
As he breaks up again.
We'll let him finish that sentence in a second, but I forget who was saying this, or I think it was an announcer or something, but like they're like, I think it's legitimately impossible to hit a home run off of Clay Holmes right now. Just the way he's
You just have
pitching.
to guess. You have to guess where to put your bat.
You have to guess, yeah. And I really don't even know. Like, I don't think it's possible to hit a home run off him right now. And That being said, it's probably going to happen after I said that. But what he's
We're
doing,
losing 4-3 tonight.
what he's doing is ridiculous. Breaking records out here. Another record that's gonna be broken. That's not a team stat, but just an individual stat. It's insane. And I don't really know. Like, I think we're gonna start comparing him and Chapman right now, but
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
like looking at, I'll just read the stats right now because I have it in front of me. But Aroldis Chapman, 14 innings pitched, 3.86 ERA. He has a whip of 1.64 and 15 Ks and 10 walks. Clay Holmes, 30 innings pitched, 0.29 ERA, 32 Ks, 3 walks, 0.69 whip, and 30 consecutive scoreless innings, which is a record. I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, does anyone really feel confident in bringing Chapman back? Like, what do you think Boone's thought process is when he's actually like making this decision?
No, and we've had
It's
this
these dollar
conversation
signs.
too. We've had this conversation too, and I think it's exactly that, Chandler. I think it's just, and I don't even think it's true. I think Boone is just not saying it. He's not saying it because he doesn't want to hurt Chapman's feelings almost, and it's also just like you don't want to be the bearer of bad news to him type thing. I still
He
think
doesn't have that call at the end of the day. If you have
It's
a
gotta
guy
be Clay
making
Holmes.
Chapman level money, Aaron Boone's not making the call whether he's the closer or not. That's coming
Dude,
from higher
fuck
up.
that though. Like, I
No.
don't give a shit.
No,
Like,
I really
So
think
is. It's so
even
is.
after the comments. Wait, before we keep going, what were the exact comments that Boone said? Does anybody have it in front of them?
I don't have it in front of me, but it was something along the lines of he hasn't named a starter or named a closer.
It was
Because
something
Michael
they're both
K's
going to get high leverage innings.
Yeah, Michael K's like reaction to that and the way he diagnosed it was that Chapman will be the closer and Clay Holmes will get like pretty much the highest leverage like spots that aren't saves.
like
he's-
Loizaga last year.
Yes. So and I wouldn't really be happy with that honestly because the highest leverage spots that aren't saves are not the highest leverage spots. The highest leverage spots are saves. I guess what he means is coming into jams, like really bad jams, like bases loaded jams that are technically in terms of like a leverage index, higher leverage than a clean inning for a save, which in that case, I guess that is kind of more valuable to a team because they aren't going to blow up and be 3-4 run innings because Clay Holmes is not going to allow a guy on. Like that, I guess is what
That's gonna mess with him. I think
think that's gonna mess with him too. He's been during this dominant stretch. He's been the closer, coming in clean innings and not letting people on and not letting anything happen. I think it makes sense from a baseball perspective. The guy like we were mentioning before, who has the most highest ground ball percentage in probably the history of the game, to come in big bases loaded jams to get that ground ball, get the double play. It makes sense, but at the same time, like you said, Murph, it's probably going to mess with him, and that's not something you don't want to mess with the hot hand. Like, and he's quite literally had the hottest hand we've ever seen since Mariano Rivera. Like, there's stats that he compares back to Mo in terms of scoreless innings consecutively, and it's just like, why would you ever mess with that? It makes no sense.
Maybe it won't mess with him because hasn't been a closer in his career and he just stepped into that role, whatever. But his role has been high leverage situations here and there, whatever. But yeah, like you said, I don't think if it's not broken, don't fix it. And you have one of the, like you said, better closers in all of baseball. If he has Boone's wet dream when Chapman comes back is for like a 4-run game in the 9th inning, so you can bring in Chapman. Technically not a save situation, see what happens. But even if Chapman is the closer and it's a 1-run game, whatever, his leash is going to be so short, even coming off an injury, that if he not even necessarily blows a save, but struggles with 2 save opportunities, it's going to be Holmes the next time.
I feel like at the beginning, more than anything, it shouldn't be Chapman. It should be Chapman working back. He should not be, at the very least of this conversation, he should be slotted in any other role than leverage. Like, there's no way he should even be sniffed, even with a rehab stint or whatever. Why would you ever put him into a high leverage spot? He needs to build himself back up and prove that he's going to. I mean, even before being hurt, phantom injury, but before being hurt, he was not pitching well. So even before the injury, fully healthy, I wouldn't be confident in him in the 9th or any high leverage spot. Now he's coming off an injury. He has to prove that he's healthy, and he wasn't pitching well before. And on top of that, a guy who is healthy and pitching historically good is currently there. There's nothing outside of dollars that makes me think that Chapman should be the closer. And if that's the excuse, that is
It's fucking ridiculous. If that's the excuse,
I'm
it's
really
ridiculous.
pissed off about that. That makes me really angry if that's the case, because
Chandler,
that's not the
Right.
best product in the field.
what you were thinking? Were you thinking like the Pena situation in Moneyball, where he wanted to start Pena because he was, an all-star rookie, but they wanted to start Hatterberg instead? So like Billy Beane wanted to start Hatterberg, but the manager was starting Pena. Is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
I mean, I would say, yeah, I guess.
It's probably exactly that.
But I just like, I don't know. I don't think that
Not really,
The
though.
front-
'Cause
the front office isn't willing to take that 14, 18, whatever, however many $1 million hit. They're not going to. You see it with guys like Aaron Hicks. There are better options to play the outfield every day. Aaron Hicks makes $10 million, which is less than Chapman, and he's out there every single night. And this isn't new. This has been a recurring theme for years. Like, they're not going to. Maybe it'll come back in a diminished role and they'll split time, but Chapman's still going to get closes. And if you don't think he's going to, then that's just naive of you, because he's still going to get. It doesn't matter. It does not matter what Clay Holmes could not give up a run the rest of the year. Chapman is still going to get save opportunities. That's just what's going to happen. We saw it last year, even with the Loizaga. Even when Chapman went through that stretch, which was one of the worst stretches in closer history, he had like a 9 ERA for a month, blew like 6 out of 7 saves, and he was still out there. That right there, that stat is telling enough. The fact that he was able to be in those games to blow them when you have Loizaga, who was last year's Clay Holmes but not as good, and you still have him sitting there setting up games for Chapman to come in and blow. The fact that he was able to blow that many games with Loizaga sitting there is just proof. We've seen this same song and dance before. We saw it last year, and the sooner we accept it, the better. It's going to be for all of us. Like, it's going to happen. You
can make the case that Chapman, when he comes back, should be like the 6th inning guy, and I think that is the correct place to put him, especially when he's getting back healthy. Even when he's fully healthy, I think he should still be like the 6th. I think he should be the new Chad Green.
I think Aaron Boone knows that, and I think Aaron Boone knows that he shouldn't.
Why do you
close
say no?
games.
Why do you say no to that?
Because he's still. I mean, like, I think he could be like a 7th, 8th inning guy. Like, I think that's where he fits nicely. Like, he's still a good pitcher. Like, I'm not gonna throw him in there for garbage innings in the 6th inning. I think he's still a better closer and can like get a shutout inning better than a lot of these other guys.
I agree.
And I think I get the Chapman and Hicks comparison, but the thing that I'm thinking of is like
Hicks.
That's what Chandler was saying. He was comparing Hicks with Chapman. The contract
They're
going
to play because of their money.
Okay.
But the difference that I see with that is like, yes, Hicks is fucking terrible. Like, we're not gonna talk about that right now because there's nothing to talk about. He's awful. But like, he can blend in with like the lineup of being terrible, and to the average fan, he's not gonna be yelled at. But Aroldis Chapman, if you're blowing saves every night, like you're gonna be hated significantly more than an Aaron Hicks who just doesn't hit. Like we're still
doing the
winning.
same thing in the biggest spots.
Yes,
I
but
flip
Chandler,
it from saves to game on the line.
But we're still winning
down
games.
one. You're
But we're
down
still
one
winning
run.
games.
It's also different to shift your role within a bullpen than to be a bench bat. Like, taking Aaron Hicks out of the lineup every day to be a bench bat is a lot different than moving Chapman to the 7th or 8th inning.
Yes.
I'm not comparing it directly. I'm just saying there's a reason that these guys, and I'm not saying do X and bench the other one or whatever, do X, do Y. I'm just saying the reason that guys like that play is because of their contracts. That's a direct reason why. Like, if Aaron Hicks or Aroldis Chapman, if Aroldis Chapman was Juan De Peralta, or if Aroldis Chapman was picked somebody in the bullpen that's actually got some service time under them and not a massive contract, he would be fucking gone. Use Chad Green. Use Chad Green from a few years ago. Chad Green had been an effective reliever in Major League Baseball for a long time. He wasn't just some minor league call-up that you could easily shuffle back and forth, and they sent him down. They sent down Chad Green because they're not going to do that with him. And I'm not advocating for him to be sent down. I'm just saying these decisions aren't just made solely based on what's on the field, right or wrong. And I totally all for it. He should be demoted, not to the minors, but to a different inning. Yeah, I agree. I'm all for it. I'm 100% on your side. I'm just saying it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Because money at the end of the day comes into play. It is a factor. Whether you want to believe it or not, money is a factor in these decisions.
I just really, really, really hope that it's not. I know it will be a factor, and I'm cool with him being the eighth inning guy, even though I don't want that to be the case because of money. I just think him over Clay Holmes would be a mistake because I'm scrolling through Instagram right now, and another thing that just pops up on my For You page is a Clay Holmes stat, and it says Clay Holmes has faced 113 hitters. 83% of them have hit a ground ball or struck out. Like it's a new eye-popping stat every time I look down at a piece of paper, and Clay Holmes' name is on it. It's crazy, and money should not put him. Clay Holmes is our closer. It's the name of this podcast right now. Clay Holmes is our closer, and I don't give a shit what money has to do with it because
It's not. We're not the ones making the decision.
I know, and well, that's why we're talking about it here. I know, like I agree with you. I think it's going to be that Chapman ends up. I think they're going to split time. That's my last thing I'll say on that. My true feeling of how the Yankees will handle it. I think they're going to split time, which I think is a mistake. Also, I think Clay Holmes. What I think and what's going to happen. We always talk about that. Two different things. I do think they're going to split time. Clay Holmes should be the closer. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page.
And I think that'll, by the end of the year, assuming health for both of them and say, the trends are going as they are, which is a big if. I think that no matter what the roles are going forward, if it's Clay Holmes or Chapman in a playoff game in a big save situation like a one run, like I think that's where the money's out the window because it's playoffs.
Thank you.
Then it's different.
I agree. But I'm saying the day to day, it's not going to change. They're willing to sacrifice, especially with how they're playing now. They're willing to risk it to keep everybody happy, keep the team at peace. But I think, and that'll be the biggest indicator. And if it comes down to it, and all things equal, health, rest, everything, and you go to an elimination game in the playoffs, and Chapman's closing that game, that is a catastrophic mistake.
When push comes to shove,
we say that
massive failure on the front office. It's a massive failure on Boone if that's the case.
Well, what they're hoping is going to happen, and I hope it too, is that they're hoping that Clay Holmes can revert back into the eighth inning as the best setup man in baseball and not miss a beat, and then Chapman will come in with full health, and maybe that's why he had a lackluster start to the season. Who knows? We already talked about that before, but their hope is that Chapman's going to return to his previous form, and then you're going to have Holmes and Chapman in the eighth and ninth, and nobody's going to score a run in those innings, basically. And then you also have Mike King, who's, pretty good, Juan De Peralta, who's having a great year, Loizaga when he comes back. It's going to be a very dominant bullpen if that all pans out the way they hope it will.
Yeah.
And then you also throw in like guys like Clark Schmidt too, who will have a big impact.
Clark Schmidt.
Yeah, it's just that it's.
Castro.
I know we always talk about this. It's a good problem to have, but I don't think this specific Clay Holmes versus Chapman problem is a good problem. I think this is a bad one. Like yes, we have Chapman, yes, we have Clay Holmes, and you could very easily say it's a good problem to have because we have both, and we have a decision between the two. I don't think this is a good problem because I think, and I'm more concerned. I'm not concerned about the rest of the way for the regular season because we're just winning games. We score a lot of runs. It's not that big a deal when you think about it. But when push comes to shove, the playoffs is what I'm worried about, and you have to do what's best for the team.
But we also haven't seen Clay Holmes in that kind of a spot, really.
You're right.
Closing a playoff game.
Only one way to find out, brother.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's not going to be a deterrent for me to not put him out there. I think you just got to go roll the dice and see what happens. I think.
We're all on the same page.
I know we spent a lot of time on this. I know we've spent a lot of time on this, but it's just.
It's a big conversation, though. I mean, hopefully
excellent conversation.
Hopefully, the name of the episode. Hopefully, we just score enough runs where there's never a same situation, and no one needs to. Chapman never needs to pitch.
And within 3 runs the entire year.
One more thing too, I know we kind of mentioned it on that is, and I've seen comments on it that Clay Holmes is being used a lot, so his usage is he's never done this before, so. For the rest of the season, that's why I'm more so cool with him splitting time with Chapman because he hasn't done this, so let's keep him ready so he can be available in the playoffs to be that closer.
Yep.
24 saves this year so far out of 46 wins. Just saying.
It's a lot of save situations.
I don't know if I
a lot
don't
of close
recall
games.
any blown saves off the top of my head. Did Chapman blow one?
Chapman?
Chapman blow save? No.
He almost did, and Clay Holmes saved. Not Clay Holmes.
Mike
Mike
King.
King.
Mike King.
Chapman? No, he did blow a save.
Want to get into
Maybe.
the knots?
Yeah, let's get
Yes.
the knots. Who's doing knots? Murph, dude?
Yeah, let's do it.
First up on the knots, we've been talking about great bullpen. This is the one that's not great, and I think you can. I mean, the one good thing about them is he grew a pretty dang good mustache overnight. But Lucas Licky gives up the 2 runs against the Rays to let them back in the game and almost forced Clay Holmes, the aforementioned Clay Holmes, to come in the 8th instead of the 9th like he's used to. Season-long ERA of 4.08. Not a lot of strikeouts. Not missing bats. Highest ERA on the active roster. The only 2 guys above him are Luis Heel and Jonathan Loaziga. Remember him. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I will buy that.
Luis Severino just being on the COVID IL.
I'm not worried about that. No.
Not a lot of bad things happen, so I'm just gonna kind of run with it. So the Pittsburgh Pirates front office. It's almost been a year now since we acquired Clay Holmes on July 26th last year, and the unfortunate events page posted it. So it's just funny. I wanted to bring up that again. It's just funny the whole world knows how bad of a trade that was in hindsight now. And I wanted to bring up. I guess I'll bring this up after. But are you buying that the Pittsburgh Pirates have the worst front office in baseball?
Yeah.
Yeah, add us to that too.
Yeah, and Damon, I wanted you to. Do you have that sound queued up of Mr. John Smoltz, because he made his way onto the not list as well?
Yeah, I do.
So while Damon's pulling that up, I just want to bring up one thing too. Like, is the Pittsburgh Pirates front office the worst in baseball, or they're the worst traders in recent memory? Because the Chris Archer trade for Austin Meadows, Tyler Glasnow, and what became later Shane Baz is the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a while. And the next most ridiculous thing is this Clay Holmes for Hoy Park and
Diego Castillo.
And obviously we didn't see it coming. We were the worst at that trade reaction. We got it live on the show, and now we're talking about this episode being named Clay Holmes is our closer. So it's just, look how far we've come. But the Pittsburgh Pirates it was their job to get that right, and it was our job to react to it, and they just have gotten things historically wrong. It's just laughable. So, Damon, do you want to play the sound of Mr. John Smoltz?
Impressed with this kid. He's pitching top of the zone at 91 miles an hour. You can do that in this league. Everyone says, you got to be able to throw 98. Well, he's got funk and spin. 2-2. Crushed on a line. Forget about this one. That is a missile, and it's 2-0 Yankees.
So John Smoltz. I just wanted to make sure. I want to make sure that was on there, because historically, John Smoltz he's the worst announcer. He's very extremely anti-Yankees, and it's obvious. And I just wanted to make sure that was on there, because that was really funny. That was the pitcher on the Cubs, Schwindel or something. I forget his name.
No, not Schwindel. He's the
Schwindel
first
was the position player that threw 35 miles per hour. But he did pitch, Murph, so that's why it's in my brain.
I know.
It's something with an S, so it's similar.
How do they
but-
let that guy call Yankees games? Like, if playoff games, I get, because he's got a deal to do that. But he's so bad. He's one of the worst announcers in baseball. When he specifically against the Yankees.
It was on Fox, so take that with whatever.
That was so funny though. He had literally, that wasn't cut. That was one pitch later. Stanton hit the 120 mile per hour fast home run that was the fastest recorded ever, and you're just like, you can do that in this league if you throw 93 at the top of the
funny
zone.
part of that is he was right, because look at Nestor and whatnot, but
you're right.
Yeah, that was the funny part. It's like, and of course
The
it was
next
the Yankees, and of course that's why. Not that he brought it up because it was the Yankees. He might have brought it up anyway, but yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have said that if it was the Yankees guy coming up throwing 90.
That guy gave up 5 home runs. Tough scene.
It's just funny. The next pitch was the fastest ever hit ever. So, yeah, Licky not looking good, man. I mean, The two guys above him, like I said, are Heel and Lasagna, and they haven't pitched since the beginning, so their ERAs you kind of want to throw out the window. He has the highest ERA, I'll say, effectively on the Yankees at 4.08. And reliever ERA, you don't really want to talk about too much, but when you have a team ERA, entire team that has nobody has a higher ERA than him, you want to talk about it. And what have you done for me lately? He gave up 2 runs and almost gave away that game and made Clay Holmes come in the 8th instead of just coming in the 9th clean. So he's been. I want to bring it up too, especially because of yesterday he like didn't look great, but also I don't know. It's just the one not good spot on this team. I feel like is Licky, and that's kind of fucked up to say. But
Well, maybe this ties into that. But the last thing I want to know, because the game already started, but Domingo Germán cleared for his rehab assignment. They said they want to build up his stamina as a starter. I don't know
Why?
where he fits in our rotation, but
Fuck does that
clearly
mean?
he's not just going to come in and start being a starter. So maybe he
Are you gonna
finds
trade
a
him?
bullpen.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be, but I mean he's got to throw. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I would imagine that he would have to throw to get traded in anything worth
Yeah.
trading. If that
I
makes
mean,
sense.
you just have to throw and stay out of jail. Those are 2 big ifs for him.
Fair.
One might be harder than the other, and we'll let you decide which one's which.
yeah, man. I mean,
Oh boy.
I don't know. I don't really. I mean, that's not even just me talking. I don't like. I'm not making a joke. I really don't want him back. I don't really see what
either.
he like value wise as a pitcher. He doesn't fucking provide anything right now. I mean, yeah, he's an extra arm, and you can always use arms, but like, I don't know, pro cons list here. What you got a guy that's like a career 4 something ERA as a starter. Or I know you can say what you want about the next man up here, whatever, but like he had like 20 wins, woo, big fucking whoop. He said like a 4.4 ERA. He was averaging like 9 runs to support a game. Look behind the stats, he wasn't like
If we had a
anything
hole in our
special.
rotation, I'd be excited to have him back. But
So
we have-
very
yeah.
much same, but we don't have like any. I mean, if Lucas Licky's your biggest hole, then
It's a pretty good hole to have.
plus he's growing a mustache, so he'll be good soon.
Exactly.
I don't know about that. He throws 60 miles an hour. He's 100 years old.
Hey,
I want
You
to
heard John Smoltz. You don't have to throw 98.
Yeah, next
as long as you
notification
don't,
I get on my
he
phone.
he won't be facing Stanton, so that's good
Well,
Yeah.
maybe.
until he gets just traded to somebody
DFA'd.
else and DFA'd, and then Stan has a rehab assignment and he takes Licky deep. That would be really funny if that was the series of events. Like he gets DFA'd, he's in AAA or something like that. Stanton, unfortunately, if he were to get hurt, comes back doing a rehab assignment and then he hits a tank off Licky, and then I eat my words. But
Clark
If he
Schmidt
gets
predictions
DFA'd,
for
he's
the
not
night.
going to be on the Yankees.
yeah, since we're
He already has a
recording
K, so that's cool.
Yeah, we're recording this before.
Don't look at the
this-
stats, you cheating bitch.
I think he's
It
going to do
popped
well.
up as a notification.
I think he'll
I
go
think it was
5.
first batter K.
I think 5 is fair.
5 innings? That's not a prediction. That's an innings. I'm talking like, give me a line. Give me
Five
some
innings,
substance.
5 innings, 2
7.
runs, 6 Ks, 2
So I was-
walks.
Yeah, I was
Innings.
going to say something similar.
Yeah, just saying like, yeah, about 5. That 5 fucking what?
He might pitch. He might pitch tonight. He
Yeah,
might
he-
throw
yeah,
like
he'll throw a
he might
couple
have
innings.
70 pitches.
Hey, I think what Murph said. I'd say 7 Ks though. Price is right, you're a bitch ass.
All right. Price is wrong, bitch.
All right, that'll do it from us today. We got to go watch the game, but as always, appreciate you guys.
Wait, before we
listening
go
with us.
though, we've a fun opportunity for those who are still listening to us right now. If you're listening right now, you're the real ones. Like Rella said, go do the whole Leo's 5-star review, subscribe to the YouTube. But for those who are still listening right now, you're the real ones, and you deserve this opportunity. So we're doing a fun little thing with stakes. Play with stakes. We're giving everybody an opportunity to go to a game with the boys. A Yankee game with the boys. Now, in order to do that, we have some links in our description, link in the bio as well. If you download the Stakes app, sign up. It's a sports prediction app. There's no money involved, so you can place some free sports predictions. We'll be asking questions from our account on the app, and if you get those predictions right, you'll have a chance to go to a game with us at some point. Maybe it's a playoff game. Maybe it's a game towards the end of the year. Who knows? It'll be a good game. We'll all be there. Beer and food included. Ticket included. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. So go down the Stakes app. Follow us. Wager on our questions. You get them right. get a chance to go to a game with the boys. And if you win, you get to bring a friend. So two tickets. That's
Two tickets.
it. 2 tickets.
One team, two
One
tickets.
team. Sorry, we can't afford 2 teams. Can't afford 2 teams. That's a joke.
And maybe Chandler's dog Franklin will come too.
Maybe Franklin will come. Yeah. Anyway, Rella, closing comments.
I mean, he stole my job, so yeah, leave a review, please. We'd love it. Go download the Stakes app. Go. Yeah. Love you guys.
Kill
Bye.
Yankees.